Hey folks, we're back here with another video. I'm going to do a specific video because it's a decade-long list. It's been a decade past, and obviously a live for it. I've seen a lot of crappy world champions in World Wrestling Entertainment. So after this video is probably done, I'm going to do another one based on the top every year from 2009 to 2019, the worst world champions of every year. It's probably going to be not that controversial because obviously in the low points of the year 2009 to 2019 has not been the selective best years of the company and personal experiences, but we're going to go over them. Obviously, before this, quick little prayer up to, of course, Renee Young and Jon Moxley. Hopefully they come survive in this thing over Renee. Just shown to be positive, discovered positive for Corona. Hershey's being actually fine. Moxley has to be off TV for a while, probably before Fyter Fest. And, well, until Fyter Fest, there's of course Sammy Guevara that's suspended off saying some dumb crap from like 2016. Anybody else would say something retarded in 2016. I don't know why that excuses suspension other than cancel culture just getting up his ass because he said some dumb crap about Sasha Banks that she pretty much accepted the apology of. We had a lumberjack match involving Luchasaurus against Wardlow, and personally I was excited about this because it's my favorite things in the world. Heavyweights, and plus a lot of bodies getting beaten the shit out of. When it came to a lot of bodies getting beaten the shit out of, the babyfaces helping out Luchasaurus and somewhat causing bad interactions with Wardlow. There was a power slam, bicycle knees from Luchasaurus, big boots, counter after counter. These guys were fighting outside. Nobody else, the Lumberjacks had to stay around the ring for some apparent reason. MJF came out of nowhere. There was a great T-bone suplex in the match. These guys were just like ham-hocking the shit out of each other. There was a botch in the match, though, and it came into, not really a botch, but it was a necessary Spanish fly from middle of the ring. It was crazy. These matches were doing everything until Wardlow won. So, decent finish. I thought it was a watchable match. It ended up with them showing on pay-per-view MJF will be at Fyter Fest in a tag team match with him and Wardlow against Jungle Boy and, of course, Luchasaurus in a tag team match. Because, of course, MJF has a rivalry with Jungle Boy. Red Velvet was in a match against Hikaru Shida, the AEW Women's Champion. This one I did not see. I already have an opinion over the over-reliance on Japanese women wrestlers and getting the women that you originally want to build up, like Raiho. I swear not a lot of people remember Raiho was even on the women's roster. What happened to Awesome Kong, Oja Kong, Chris Statlander that they had being a top babyface until noticing her retarded gimmick? Noticeably, I don't think anybody I knew watched the match. It was just random trash talking. All I know was Britt Baker was going to play a factor because I wasn't going to play a factor because obviously she's injured. The only thing they displayed was, of course, that there was bodyguards now protecting her. And Penelope Ford was watching, so I guess that was much. It ended off a running knee and a Falcon Arrow, and that's it. That's all you need to know. The basic squash match, and then Ricky Starks came after Kip Sabian and came to break up something with Penelope, trying to get a sneak attack on Hikaru. That was practically it. I care very little. I don't think the problem with the women's division, they barely have that much superstar power. Probably depended on just hardcore wrestling in general, other than storytelling. In that instance, I wouldn't mind giving the title to Britt Baker, because at least she makes compelling storyline, especially for promo, even though no one cares. But at least she's a pro. She has promos. It's a basic heelish character she has. Especially, it feels like it's just equivalent of her being the Miz and whatever Mike Knox was trying to be back in 2009. If you don't remember, that's why it wasn't successful. And of course, we had Fyter Fest, a press conference. Even though we don't have this for the world title match, because of course Moxley isn't there for obvious reasons. He came. It was just Cody, Arn Anderson, with Cody obviously treating this as a symbol, how he deserves to be world champion, how he brings respect to almost every opponent he faces in the ring, bringing up the backstory of Rick Starks. It's supposed to be overly compelling, and I don't care because I know Cody's gonna win. Just for this work rate ass match to make him feel over or try to get the other guy over, even though Hager had just immediately lost a world title match against Moxley. So his chances of still being a top tier match was kind of dumb, and I see him probably in a future feud with Jericho. The best thing was, goddamn, Hager's wife is hot, and second, Cody's wife is hot. So there's positives. I didn't really care that Dustin just came around still wearing the paint, even though we already know how he originally looks without the paint. He looks like a rugged Dusty Rhodes with liposuction. He comes around. Cody even admitted that this is an unfinished design of the TNT Championship. This is just an early release because they had a tournament, and plus they had enough time. Thanks, they had over a year, 2 years, in fact, to actually implement a mid-card title, and several weeks of hiding the fact that we had to build up a goddamn pay-per-view for the finals tournament. So, yeah. No one cared. This isn't even equivalent to a brawl because Cody wants to wait until pay-per-view 2 weeks away. July 1st on pay-per-view. Don't forget it. Jim Ross will gargle his way to tell you that that match is going to be happening on pay-per-view. Of course, Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. There was a backstage, there was a vignette involving, well, it was like a skit involving Sonny Kiss wearing jean shorts. I'm going to try to make this, please vouch for me, because obviously I'm not used to the character as Sonny Kiss, and I'm trying to not call him, or I think I'm supposed to call him, that he looks like a transvestite Shelton Benjamin. In the course of action that he does bicycle knees and he twerks and Hurricane Ranas with of course we're alluding to the fact that Colt Cabana's trying to Brody Lee's trying to convert Colt Cabana into the Dark Order. Am I supposed to care? I understand he's just doing this because of course he's with a losing streak and you think Colt Cabana has some potential. That's practically it. I don't know what was the point or whatever in the fuck they're planning to do. Excuse me. Or whatever in the hell I'm supposed to care about Joey Janela that comes around braiding his hair. He's a grown man that has a beer belly, and the best thing he did in the match was like a top rope Hurricane Rana and a missile dropkick. A couple bicycle knees. That dumb big boot that Brody Lee does that involves him taking a knee afterwards, probably because he's so tall. It dragged on as much as it did. It was good to see Colt Cabana actually build up momentum, and then they spark into another match involving the private party that did come out to try to assist. That tried to assist with Matt Hardy against Santana with the Inner Circle. I completely transitioned there. I don't know what else happened except that they called out another opponent. I don't care. I don't care in the fact that Colt Cabana is in a losing streak because he just got signed. I don't care that Brody Lee's trying to find new members, even though you have like Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and like a bunch of guys, and we forgot that number 10 was supposed to be a thing until he jobbed out to Moxley. Like, the inconsistencies of trying to see who you think deserves to get a big momentum gain in the mid-card is completely beyond me. So, yeah. No offense. I just don't care. I don't care about Sonny Kiss. I don't care about Johnny Chilena. I can care less about Cole Cabana, and I can care less about Brody Lee. Next up, we of course have FCU, and I thought this was going to be a pretty good match because obviously built up, high stakes, fast paced wrestling with a grizzled veterans. If you don't remember, Kaz and Daniels made bad behavior. I mean, I think it's bad influence, and of course FTR's there. We had some big back and forths, counter after counter. Best Moonsault ever got countered. Elevated DDT got countered. Cass kept getting in a fight with one of the, I think it was Wheeler, and they started going blow for blow. Big mishes off. I'm still calling it the Shatter Machine until the finishing name, actually grows on me. A slingshot suplex for nothing. A backstabber, uh, and then a kick out of nowhere to break a pinfall from Daniels. Kill switch, got a near fall. I didn't even know why Christopher Daniels would do a kill switch. A Vegomatic on Daniels with a near fall. It was big back and forth, finisher after finisher. And a Good Night Express. Now makes him like, it's called the Good Night Express. I can care less. All I remember was Kaz always getting in the face of Wheeler. It looked dumb. Dax Harwood. It's super retarded, their names. And it was just near fall after near fall. Decent transitional talent, and of course we saw a bit more fast-paced tag teams because they came into the car. We saw the Butcher and Blade be there, and then they challenged him to a fatal four-way tag team match for no reason. This probably is going to transition into a tag team title opportunity because this makes no sense to just book a fatal four-way tag team match just for FTR to feud with Butcher and Blade, except for probably for the tag division to get screen time. The match was fine. It was an okay match. I just thought the commentators were way out of depth. There was also Pentagon and Phoenix coming in, and then the Elite coming in. No, that's practically it. And then they just challenged him into an 8-man tag. So I guess that's it for the babyface. Probably FTR is going to turn their backs on the Young Bucks on the pay-per-view. I can care less. I can just expect them building out when crowds are back and allowed back because we won't have another pay-per-view after Fyter Fest until like September. So probably this whole thing will break down and the fans will be back in public attendances. So this is going to be probably a bigger thing to build up on than just have a dream match on a pay-per-view where nobody's going to be there. Next up, Brian Cage against John Cruz. No one cares except Taz not even getting a promo out, and they just showed vignettes of course Moxley getting tossed into a car. Taz again, like feeling like this is ESPN like sports science, and bringing up the physical attributes of goddamn Brian Cage over his physical abilities, athleticism, blah blah blah. We know that he's athletic. We know that he's strong. He beat the shit out of Moxley, and you keep giving him jobbers. It ended off that inverted pile driver he does on Fireman's Carry for the win. And then Taz kind of tossed Moxley by this. You are sitting on your ass at home with some bullshit excuse, he exclaimed. It's good that you're not here because that's the point. That is unsafe. But okay, I don't care. And he's trying to proclaim that he is excusing that because his wife has COVID-19, that you're not going to be, that you can't be here. And decent points, decent way to get heat, obviously, for the time being, until people probably want to forget that COVID-19 exists. Like people want to forget that Taz is part of Aces and Eights. And if you guys haven't been watching Impact, obviously, They're trying to bring back the Aces and Eights on Impact because EC3 or anybody else they can bring back is coming back. And Tessa Blanchard got her dumbass fired because she forgot that she has a job and she's the world champion. Other than that, if she wanted to save her job, she should have just, I don't know, vacated the championship and said she's taking a leave of absence until this whole pandemic thing blows over. She only had a month to go and she hasn't been on TV in 2 months. And then they booked a 5-way match for Slammiversary come the 18th of next month. And guess who hasn't even been on TV for the last several weeks? The world champion. I think it was something to do with creative differences and plus the pandemic. I could care less, to be honest. Then they start teasing out the fact that Shawn Spears is in a huge winning streak at Dark. Like people are going to be watching their B show that's strictly on YouTube. Yes, I understand there's more exclusivity and it's supposed to give some guys that they sign some screen time if they're not actually getting more TV time on Dynamite, but at least it excluded as such and probably change the name to After Dark or something more cooler. I don't like the name Dark at all. It's a weak name for a B show and no one's going to watch something called The Dark. Probably do something corny like Nuclear or something. Clash, Thunder, anything generic that sounds like a certain source of conflict. No one likes to hear something called Dark. Jesus Christ, it sounds like some CBS show you you didn't watch back in the mid-2000s. Next up was, of course, Matt Hardy. Now broken Matt Hardy facing off against Santana from the Inner Circle. And they're trying to proclaim his personality because, of course, his numerous gimmick changes over his merely 20-year career as having a personality disorder. That I think is a safe way to go about it because he comes around going this version 1. He comes around, of course, this is broken gimmick. Something. Probably his other gimmick that he had back in ROH. I can care less. The match was fine. Double knees, biting Santana, tossing his face into the ring post, a good counter into a side effect. A big drop kick to the face of Matt Hardy. Ortiz came with a sock full of quarters after a losing effort off Santana from a good counter from a twist of fate, and then the private party come for the numbers game. Jericho was coming in until Orange Cassidy comes, but that was the latter half of that was the latter part of the show when they had a face-off. But that's it. Private Party comes to save Matt Hardy from the Inner Circle. Still no Sammy Guevara for obvious reasons if you guys haven't been in media for the last several days. And for that, I couldn't blame you. Next up, Orange Cassidy faces itself against Jericho, with Cassidy obviously not getting a lot to say because that's his gimmick. Jericho obviously mockingly disrespecting and somehow respecting the way Orange Cassidy is over. And obviously, with the most charismatic guy on the roster, he's doing the bare minimum. He's doing the onslaught to make sure that he gets an understanding over his character, disrespects it, but understands it. I like the way Jericho thinks, and obviously works with Matt Hardy. It worked with Cody. It works with a whole plethora of stars that he knows he can work with, and it ended up with somehow a side of Orange Cassidy's face looking bled out. Looking like he got a part of his ear that got damaged. Running off the rail and hitting Jericho outside. Just borderline beating the shit out of him. Taking off his glasses and breaking them. Just a huge hype factor into their match at Fyter Fest. That hopefully there's a stipulation for this. Obviously treating Cassidy that he's not a joke. And when he hits the ring, he's going to take this a whole lot serious, like he took Pac serious. That Pac obviously still has a vendetta with him, even though he hasn't been shown on TV for several weeks, or months in this case, thanks to the pandemic. It's literally just been the Lucha Bros. Didn't they make something called the Death Triangle or something? Like, we forgot that was a faction? I guess. I mean, nearly everything then caused to halt future plans for Dynamite to have something that makes a legit faction of somewhat. I don't care. This show got a 5 out of 10 for me. There were 2 good matches. The segment involving Cassidy and Jericho was entertaining. I can care less about Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, or Cole Cabana warming up to join the Dark Order. The weird transition into an 8-man tag, all because Butcher and Blade needs some reason to still be on television, even though they're glorified jobbers, except on Dark, is pretty dumb. Just everything, tag team match, tag team match, tag team match. Only matches that are important, practically the best friends in Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. We forget that they're still tag team champions at this case. And of course, Cassidy and Jericho. And now we can't even have Moxley because Renee, well, it's not, in technicality, it's not her fault. It's off the health guidelines of what WWE thinks is unsafe, even though you're in a small, condensed, secluded area in Florida. And Vince McMahon thinks it's the smartest idea for putting impromptu crowds and not allowing them to wear masks or have their own selective seats or anything in that case. He makes these people sit down in selective areas, touching each other and breathing the same air without any fucking masks. That's all Vince's fault in general. And he's responsible for all of this. It's dumb. Speaking about this, I thought this was a watchable amount of Dynamite. Obviously, I think this is one weaker pulse of Dynamite, probably before we're really close to the pay-per-view. Dynamite will start heating up, hence the name. Tell me how you felt about AEW Dynamite down below in the comments section. Like this video. Thank you for watching this DST show. Help me reach 30 and above. That's it.